that is roughly about the size of my penis. Remember when I always talk about my penis. That was fun times, wasn't it? Remember when sometimes I would talk about my penis? Sometimes, not always, not all the time. Come on, I got more to say than that. But you know, when your penis is as imposing as mine, it's the sort of thing that gets a mention now and again. Done it. Do you know what I mean? Hello. Oh, hi. Hi, gang. Back once again with the Renegade Master. Default damage. Power to the people. Back once again with the ill behaviour. I've got Fallout songs stuck in my... Don't they know it's the end of the world? It ended when you said goodbye. I wake up in the morning and I wonder why everything's the same as it was. I can't understand. No, I can't understand how life goes. Shut up, fucking Jesus Christ. Hi, welcome back to the show. First of all, thank you to everyone who watched the big one. By that I mean my penis. You thought I was done with the penis gags. Gag on the penis. But no, I weren't, and shan't be, and won't ever. Though for the podcast, the 12-hour one, one of my most, maybe my most viewed podcast episode. Certainly one of them, and I'm very, very thankful. I think most of the views probably come from people being like, seeing the running time and seeing it say like 12-hour whatever, and being like, really, and then they click on it. And they go, what is he doing for 12 hours? And then they maybe watch a couple of minutes and they go, oh, it's just that for 12 hours. Never mind then. And then they click off of it. Which is fine, you know. Still counts as a view, and that's all that matters, isn't it? It gets my analytics up. I literally don't pay attention to analytics. I think I've looked at the analytics of my YouTube stuff one time. And I was like, wow, this is boring. It's like being in a fucking... a room where businessmen gather, a business room. What do they call them? A boardroom. It's like being in a boardroom and having some twat point at a whiteboard. Investment, collateral, fly the flag up the pole, and blue sky thinking, all the brainstorm, the ideas with the meshing combination, unilateral patterns, mergers and acquisitions. That's what I feel like when I look at like YouTube analytics or whatever. It's like, wow, I don't give a shit about any of this. I just want to make fucking videos and put them out there into the world and such. And that's what I did. And I did it for 12 hours, and people, the feedback on it has been really good, and I really do appreciate that. So thank you to everyone who's watched my Bibios, that one specifically, the 12-hour one. So what? There are two ways to go from here. One, let's go this way. Oh, my baby! You hit my baby. See, so the basis of the 12-hour podcast, sort of, it wasn't originally going to be that, but it basically became, can I fill an entire sketchbook in 12 hours? Spoilers, if you've not seen it already, no. The answer is no. I did not. However, what I did do was get about almost exactly halfway through my sketchbook in that 12 hours. So I can't help but think, if I did another 12 hours, finish the other half of the sketchbook, and I fill a sketchbook. So then the title of that one would be, Can I Fill a Sketchbook in 24 Hours? And hopefully the answer would then be yes, provided I am actually able to do that. Which, of course I would. Come on, obviously, maybe, possibly. It remains to be seen. So I might do another 12-hour podcast, is what I'm saying. I probably won't, but I might. But I won't, but I might. But I could. I probably won't. But I'm just saying I could. I'm just saying the possibility is there. I'm saying, I could do it. I won't do it, but I could. But I probably won't. I most certainly won't. But I might do it. But I could. I might do it, but I probably won't do it. But I still might do it. I probably won't. Almost certainly won't. Definitely, probably, could do it. Second 12-hour podcast. I mean, if you watched it, I spent... it felt like the latter half of the 12-hour podcast talking about how fucking draining it's been to make a 12-hour podcast, how I felt like I was getting sick from it, and it was just not doing me any good, really. So I don't know if doing another one is really such a good idea. But that's no reason not to do something, is it? Just because it's a bad idea. What, am I going to not do something just because it's clearly a terrible idea to do it? No. Fucking do it anyway. No one ever got anywhere in life by not doing something just because it's a clearly piss poor idea to do the thing. So let's do the thing. What about I can poop? Now, okay, so that was going off this way, was just mentioning how there is the potential to do further 12-hour podcasting. No, again, I probably won't, because it'd just be silly, wouldn't it? I'd do another 12-hour podcast. And then people will start to think, oh, that's just what he's doing now. And then I'll start doing that. I'll be like, well, people expect it, so I feel like I just should do it. So now going this way is, I mentioned during that 12-hour podcast a new video series I wanted to work on. I had an idea because I was going to take a break from the podcast, and I had an idea for a new video series to do in the meantime. I went to Instagram and asked my close friends, which are mostly Patreon subscribers, to challenge me to draw something. Because that was going to be the idea for the new video, was challenge me to draw shit. Literally that. People say, hey Ewan, can you draw this? Can you draw that? And then I sit down, try and draw it, and talk about it while I'm trying to draw it. And then release like a long form unedited video for Patreon subscribers, and then a really sort of like quickly cut edited version for YouTube for the public. And it would be funny because it would be like I'll be halfway through a sentence and then just cut to the next bit of the drawing for like a minute. I figure basically I'll just take random 30-second to a minute intervals throughout the video, cut them out, and then splice them together. So a quicker version of that would be like, and then bit by bit you see the drawing getting put together, with maybe an intro and an outro stitched fore and aft, because I think that'd be a really funny way to do the video, which arguably it would be funny. And you might be thinking, well, yeah, do that, Ewan. Well, that sounds cool. Why don't you do? Well, I kind of did. So here's the rub, if that's a thing. The thing is, right, I filmed 2 episodes of that. I didn't get towards... I started editing one like that. Ultimately, didn't enjoy sitting and drawing and recording them. Didn't enjoy trying to edit them. Didn't enjoy watching them back while editing them. I didn't enjoy any of the process. And I was just thinking, why would I want to put this out? I haven't enjoyed a single part, a single aspect of creating this thing. Why on earth would I put it out there as a video series? I think the series could work. It may even be that I need to do it more like I would do the podcast. Because I think I was going into it thinking like, this is a show I'm doing. Let's treat it like a show. And I was maybe, like the shit I always talk about hating. And then I just thought, hey, I'll just do that myself. Why not? What could go wrong? That's what could go wrong, obviously. Is that I could end up just fucking hating it because it's stupid. Because I realised what I like doing is just sitting, because it's hanging out. That's the whole point. I think that's where that series failed before it even got started. It was because I don't make YouTube videos. I just sit down and draw and talk, kind of with people, kind of just on my own, and that's sort of, I upload the videos to YouTube because it's somewhere to do that. But then as soon as I start making like more YouTube-ish videos, it feels shit. It feels forced. It feels performative. It feels not like selling out, but not far removed from that. I'd rather just sit and talk a bunch of shit. And, if people enjoy that, cool. And then they can sort of join in their own ways, if possible. So, like I say, the idea for that series isn't terrible, and it still might work for like one or two videos. It'll just need a bit of reworking in terms of how I approach it, I believe, yeah. The video itself still could work. It's just, yeah, it just needs a little something. Just a little something. So it's on the back burner for now. And it's got all of it. Ragadakadoo. Pew pew. Is that a super mutant, Ewan? That looks like a Fallout, more like a Fallout 4 super mutant. Yes, it fucking is. I watched a video by Jonah Loeb, who is, at least was, a designer, concept artist for Bethesda. He worked on a bunch of stuff for Skyrim and a bunch of stuff for, I think he worked on Fallout 3 and also Fallout 4. He designed a shitload of stuff for Fallout 4. Deathclaw, Super Mutants, Mole Rats, Mirelurks for Fallout 3 and 4. It was quite cool. A bunch of stuff. And I was looking at his, I've seen the concept art here and there before, but I was looking at it in this specific video because he was talking about all of his Fallout work leading up to the show and such. More on that later. And I felt somewhat inspired. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I like the shapes and shit. Let me get in on that. Let me do some super mutant drawing. So I'm doing some super mutant drawing. But now, here's the thing. There's a reason I started out measuring it. Because it's closer to 9. If that's how it goes, that's how it goes. And then how wide is it? 6. Whoosh. So I thought, because looking at some of the close-ups of like the faces and stuff of the concept art, I really like the bumps and the coloration changes and stuff. And I thought like, it'd be fun to paint those and use like chunky brush strokes to really get the lumpy bumpiness of the skin and the textures and the different changing tones in skin and stuff. But then I thought, if I'm going to do that, I want it to be quite a big painting. And then the thought, like a lightning bolt, shot into my head, or like the little devil on my shoulder going, paint it life-size. Paint a life-size super mutant. And I was like, oh, fuck, that's a good idea. Yes. Paint a life-size super mutant. Go on, Ewan. Do it. Do it, you fucking whore. Why aren't you doing it already, Ewan? Do it. It's obvious. You should be doing it now. Get on with it, Ewan. Fuck, do it, Ewan. Fucking do it. Paint a life-size super mutant. Now, from the little bit I know of Fallout lore and a little bit of research on top of that, the average height of a super mutant is sort of between 8 to 10 feet. And then, of course, you get like war bosses, warlords, fucking bigger kinds of super mutants, and then behemoths, which are just fucking ridiculous, like 20-foot tall monstrosities or even bigger. So I figured if I take 8 feet as a basis, that's not too outrageous, really. I can get a bunch of big paper and just like fucking tape it all together. And it'll be quite cool if I tape it kind of hickledy-pickledy and then paint over it, so it will have like a few lines here and there and it will feel a bit more slapped together, like Fallout, yeah. Or if I can find like a roll of paper, like you can find sometimes, if it's a decent quality paper. And I've got a section of wall which is big because I've got quite high ceilings because I'm basically in the roof of my building. And I do have a section of wall. I could pull my bed away from the wall into the middle of the room and sleep there for a few days. That'd be fine. Nail the big paper up onto the wall, put a dust sheet down on the floor, just, because I'm renting. And then, and try to film the process, because I think if I'm going to do something like that, it's going to be worth recording it, isn't it? And then paint a big fucking super mutant. And I genuinely think that's doable. I'm coming straight off the back of doing a 12-hour podcast, and I'm like, oh, I need a break after that. And then immediately my brain is going, right, now what you have to do. And one thought is, I don't really paint big. I paint small, but then at the same time, I'm like, well, I painted walls, with spray paint and stuff. But I want this to feel like the normal paintings I do, just bigger. So I'll probably use a bit of spray paint here and there for shadows and blemishes and like just texture and stuff. But it won't be a spray painted piece, because it will kind of sort of feel like cheating, which, I don't want to do. I was trying to come up with some kind of joke about cheating on your mum. I don't know. It's funny, you get it. So a life-sized super mutant painting. In my head, I'm like, well, fuck it. I can like get the paper this weekend, and a couple of days sort of planning, figuring it out, making sure I've got everything necessary that I need. Maybe a couple of days, 2-3 days to paint it. I have other stuff I should be doing, commissions to do, and comic book work. More on that later. But why not paint a big fucking super mutant? Be fun, wouldn't it? Just be a laugh, be a bit of fun, something to do, pass the time. So I might be doing that. So that's what this is currently. That's what I'm thising right now. Is that, and also this. So I measured it to be originally 8 feet, but it's worked out to be 9. So I can assume roughly. Wait there, 1 sec. Give me a sec. 2, 5. Okay. I have high ceiling. I just measured my ceilings. They are high, but it looks like they're about 8 foot high. So that might have to be my limit. But I can make that work. So that's, and then if that's 9 feet, then it's going to be roughly 6 feet wide, a bit shorter, a little bit less wide. That will fit on the wall. But it's, what would be fun is if I see, if that's 9, if this is feet, 9 feet, then I'm 5'10". So I'm about 5'10". So this is this is me, bearded. Oh, look, he's happy. Oh, that's nice. Big hoodie on. Some hands and legs. Oh, look at that. So I'll have to be standing on a chair, fucking painting it all up and stuff. Yeah, so that's my next project. It might even work. It might come out good. You don't know. It might be good. Could be a load of shit, but it might not. It might be good. It might be worthwhile. No, I think it'll be really fun. It'll be fun to do. It'll look cool. It'll be really impressive. Everyone will be like, "Oh my god, did you see Ewan painted a life-size super mutant? He's so cool. Ah, I love him so much. I wish he was my dad." I'm everyone's uncle, of course, but you know, it's understandable if you wish I was more than that, like your dad, for instance. And painting big isn't like outrageous. People paint big all the time. It's not like, oh my god, he's painting something large scale. Like, yeah, people paint big shit forever and ever. Like, give a shit. But, you know, compared to the sort of stuff I normally do, it will be out of the ordinary. It will be quite a change. And that's what we want, innit? We need change. Oh, that's a nice one. Nice olive green. Or is that the one I was using before? Is this... Oh, that is the one. I thought that was a different colour. That was just... What a fucking idiot Ewan is. Isn't he stupid? And he thinks he's going to do shit and make it remotely good. And this is what I want to do. I want to have, like, cool greens and browns and like skin tones, all like shit going on in here and here, reds and pinks, little like scratches and scars and bumps. And I want to have areas where it's like really chunky, like messy paint, but then other areas where it's like in the face and like some of the crevices and things where it's really detailed, where I put real effort into like little bumps and spots and scars and things. I think it'll be really, really cool. And then for the armour, like messy paint with a few little details in dents and scratches and stuff, like chains and things here and there. I think it'd be really fucking cool. Hey everybody, there's news scattered around about a guy named Ashley Wood. Oh, Wood just flew into this town and he's chopping up all the women's food. That's Butcher Pete from Fallout, but edited slightly because... Slightly. This is a new comic, Ashley Wood and TP Louise, called 7174 or 7174 or 7174 or something. AD. Like 2000 AD, but not. And it's Ashley Wood. I think it's a couple of stories. And it's a new comic. And it's number 1. And it's cover B, apparently. Fuck knows what happened to cover A, but fucking gives a shit. Ashley Wood. It's new Ashley Wood. We had I think it's still here, yeah. But that and the thing, we were all like Ashley Wood Batman, and we looked at that in the 12-hour podcast. If you haven't seen the 12-hour podcast, you should really go watch the 12-hour podcast. And the artwork was sort of all right. Not too outstanding. And I flipped through this, and it's sort of similar to that. So almost right away, what I get from this is something I love to see, but don't enjoy quite as much looking at, if that makes sense. I love to see it. I love that it exists. That it's basically Ashley Wood going, I'm going to make a comic of whatever I want. And then he makes a comic of whatever he wants and then he puts it out. It's kind of neat, almost abstract. And there's a lot of that in here. So like Robots vs Zombies felt quite a lot more structured. in terms of story and art, there was still plenty of parts like this where it's clearly sort of like quick marks and almost messy and dirty, and that's a decent street scene. I love the deep like shadow here with like the street almost rising out of that. I like his sound effects he does as well. But stuff like this is almost like, I think this is the city and like flashing lights or whooshy lines or something, but it's a bit difficult to tell. And that's not a downfall necessarily, but it's a bit like, what's going on? But that's it. In terms of looking at the art, it's not Ashley Wood's most impressive artwork, but the fact that he puts out a comic like this is sort of impressive in itself. It's a really nice feeling comic as well. Ashley Wood does put effort into the publications of his stuff, so it almost feels like a thickish newsprint, very matte paper. It's not glossy at all. The cover is a bit, but and this is a nice drawing as well, a little introductory. Thanks for stopping by for the first issue of 7174 AD. We're visiting for the first time Duo Star Racers, the first and last appearance. Also making an appearance, the Miss and Mrs. strip, Volume 1. So it may be that these are comics he already had and he's just publishing them in one place for the first time. I'm not entirely sure, but gloves, mask, stuff going on. And I really love his panels, because he doesn't get a ruler and draw out borders. It's just like a picture, a bit of a background square kind of to imply a panel. So you can see shit's going on. There's a little psh there, and then he's welding, and there's talking to some gal. Talking. Cool and whatever, I suppose. And that's another thing with these sorts of comics is, if I don't read them, I don't have a clue what's going on. Not a lot of comics, but there are comics where you almost don't need the words because you can follow the story through the pictures. But with this, it's like, I don't have a fucking clue what's happening. There's someone putting on gloves and a mask. There's city and there's room, and this, I don't know, like a whoosh line through a city, I think that's what that is. Someone on a building welding, talking to a girl, city and like a smoke cloud, I guess. And then on the top of the building, talking, the city and cars on fire, maybe. I think that's what that is. Maybe that's where the smoke's coming from. Oh, so I guess maybe I can tell what's going on. Maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And yeah, I'm so flip-floppy about this artwork because, like, I think I'd love to just make artwork like this, to just have fun doing really quick splash kind of artwork, just fucking ink, splash, marks, lines, get it out, get it done. But if I have a comic like that, I'm not going to look at it and like be happy with it, because I'll be like, oh, it needs this, it needs that, it needs more detail here, it needs shading there. And so I love the fact that he puts it out there, and it does look good on the whole, but then if you look into each individual part, it feels a bit lacking. But then maybe you're supposed to look at it on the whole because it is a whole. I think that's trying to work out what's even happening. Like, is this two people in hoods from behind, or two, like, are they surgeons? They might be surgeons cutting someone's head open. A bag. Bram, bram, bram. Someone like skating, I think. 2 hours earlier. Bram, 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 bram. I don't know if that's like a car noise or an alarm. I'm not sure. And there are these two. I guess this is, what do they call them? The Duo Star Racers. on roller skates or something. Like, that's a really cool piece of art with the use of like light and shadow, the car there and the two people like rushing forward, the sound effect and everything. Oh, I think they're tossing grenades as they go. Is it them unhooking a grenade and then throwing it at the car? That might be. I feel like I've definitely seen this and or that drawing in another book. So this might be like a print of an older comic he'd done. Also, Ashley Wood confirmed for not being able to draw feet. You know, you learn to like hide them behind things, or just like, you know, have a gas cloud around the ankles so the feet get obscured. Ashley Wood can't draw feet. It's terrible, really. No feet on anyone. It's as bad as Rob Liefeld. And I love these panels and these pages where it's just like almost random abstract art. I'm sure if I read it, I will actually understand that it has purpose and stuff. But just looking at it, it's nice artwork, and I like that. But it is almost incomprehensible in terms of what's actually going on. Stars above us, you below us. A duo star pin-up. I guess that's the end of that story. Yeah. To be continued. I don't know. Is that like a helmet and like a gas mask and some pipes and tentacles, or is it something else entirely? Like, I don't know what this is. Just looking in the camera, give any. No. No, I don't know what the fuck that is. Which that's one of my main issues with this kind of work by Ashley Wood, with big expressive brush strokes or, you know, pen lines or whatever. It's cool, it's fun to do, and again, the fact that he put out a comic like this is brilliant, because it's a real artist comic, which I love to see. But I don't know what the fuck that is. That's cool, like a guy riding a robot thing, the pipes, and I love the shapes and the length of the limbs and the angle and shit, and the mark making's really good. And then the bram 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 sound effects coming in or going out of the page. I love the black and the white, and I say white because it's like not even white, but yeah, nice art. And then some lovely ladies. That's a bit better, innit? Oh, all that fucking abstract shit. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Instead of that, give me some ass and some tits. Fucking yes, get in. Miss and Mrs. This is a there we go, yeah. He put out a strip. It was almost like a weekly strip he was doing of like just these. Which was another thing that slightly annoyed me, because it's like, you know, the strips would be like this. He'd release it weekly and it'd be like, what is that? Some girls, Miss and Mrs, I guess, and then trees. Now what? Big fucking tank. Two gals. Shoes, that's nice. But it's a nice looking fucking thing, isn't it? That's where I've, you know, I sit here going, I don't know what's going on. And it's like, well, I don't read comics anyway, so it doesn't matter. The story's basically irrelevant. Just how does it look? And it looks cool. And I love the... because he released them, I think on his website or blog or something, he released them as like these individual strips, just like, you know, the Sunday fucking Peanuts, Calvin and Hobbes, like long, thin strips. And so the best way to show those in a comic of this size is this way. So you turn the thing and thing. And I appreciate that. And this is just like Ashley Wood drawing girls and robots. And why not? You know, girls and robots. I love this as well. He's left all his pencil lines in here with the ink and the duotone dots put over the top. Fleshy. And then more Miss and Mrs. Give back my friend, you fetid turd, now. Crack soon. The Nabbler ascended, gurgling, wheezing, then zip. Okay, deal. From Mrs. Ample Cleavage, a largish soybean is revealed. Something. I think that might be French. I'm not sure. Open up and say mamamikai. Flick. If there had been birds singing, they would have stopped. Kaboom! An explosive soybean pulled out of her tits. I think that's his dead astronaut gangster character. No relation to Death Fist, of course. Let's not be silly. It's just got a skull for a face, and it's a guy doing a thing. And he's floating in space or something. Like, I can only repeat myself and say individually, like as an individual strip, that's just like what is, I don't, there's a guy in space, like in a spacesuit with a skull face, and he's talking to Houston, and I don't know what's going on. But then I love the entire thing as a thing is what's more impressive to me. Because it really is just somebody making comics they want to make. It doesn't feel like they're, worried about writers or editors or deadlines or sales figures or any of that. It's just an artist making the comic that he wants to make. And these robot heads are called Nabblers. I learnt that over the years. And they're perverts. Okay, one perv. Then you release Miss and show the way out of here. Gave him a little look-see of the goods. And then he went all frothing at the mouth. Nice little foot. And a rose. And that's cool as well. I always like this, where you have one scene split into several panels, but it makes up one entire thing. I think they're two separate ones, but either way, really, really good. And I like that you can use really, really simple marks to imply busy street stuff, cables and poles and whatever else. Some say the Nabbler was the day mankind asked why. Others say each Nabbler represents a living soul, a machinima, if you will. Many just call them pure evil, but that sounds a little dramatic. Which one is you? Classic Nabbler, white Nabbler, blind Nabbler, transparent Nabbler. Well, I guess I'd be white. I'd be a bearded Nabbler. Be white Nabbler, but with a big orange bushy beard. Shoes of Miss and Mrs. Brilliant. I love that. There's a comic strip, but it's just feet and shoes. Fucking, yeah. Do it. Let's go. Do you like these pin-ups? Robots and girls together. It's a good combination. And Ashley Wood is at the forefront of that. How Nabblers have fun. When everyone is asleep during the day, they zoom around horse racing tracks, betting on who will lose. Oh, such abandon and gaiety. How can they not smile? The pet metals. Stomp, stomp, stomp. Girls and robots. Can't go wrong with girls and robots. Maybe I'll have to do my own. Maybe I'll steal that. Girls and robots. Or goblins? Question mark? Just an idea. Might not get used, but it's an idea. The shadow, man, simple, and you can see it's just a cutout of like duotone dots pasted over the top. Some bits in here in these guts as well. But that just like a chunk of shadow is so effective because the head's leaning forward, casting a shadow onto itself, and it doesn't take much. And these marker pen drawings of things. Don't store me in spaces exposed to direct sun or sauciness. It's cool. I don't feel like I've taken loads from it. Like I haven't really gained... I got some inspiration, of course, but I've not gained anything massively from it. But it's cool to see. It's cool to look at. I'm glad I have looked at it. I'm glad I have it. And there may come a day where I'm like feeling really down and like I'm trying too hard with my comics. And I'll pick this up and flip through it and be like, fuck, okay, yeah, let's not fucking worry about it and just do a comic. Speaking of comics I've made, here's the next 4 pages of Death Fist. Well, technically not the next 4 pages. Right, so the last... So you got the guy on the ground, he got stabbed, and then he picked him up and he got him in a headlock, and then he goomphed him, popped his bollocks, and then he was winding up for a punch. I may change this one as well. I've got a slightly, maybe not a better idea, but a different idea of how to use this page. Now, the next page would be him punching him down into hell. Then the next 4 pages will be him tumbling through hell. I've described them enough. I've been holding off on drawing those because it's going to be so much work, and the next bunch of pages are a little bit easier in terms of like composition and just literally drawing them. So I'm getting those out of the way. Then I'm going to jump back to those 4 pages of him of the bad guy tumbling through hell, and then that'll basically be done. So it goes him winding up for the punch, then it goes him the big hell punch on 1 page, and then 4 pages of him tumbling down into hell, and then the next page after that is this little boy screaming "Mom!" because he had him by the throat. The guy, God damn it, where is it? Yeah, he had him. He's got a knife to the kid's face, and he's gonna fucking do him in. Is his mum crying in the background? Oh, my baby, Daddy, my baby. Mad, but now he's free because the guy's fucking been twatted into hell. Running, of course, part of his waiting mum there. And then an embrace. Look how emotional it is. Look at the emotion in that face, man. Look at the fucking the raw, God, emotion. And he's tearing up. Everyone's happy to see the reunion of the kid with his mum. He's filming it, of course. And they're all happy, and then she swings her head around, and there'll be a speech bubble saying, "Thank you," to Death Fist. Who then looks up and goes, and then gives her a big thumbs up. Success! Ha ha! Don't even mention it. De nada. Shit's all good. Everyone's filming him on their phones. And then the next page, there's people going like, and this guy's going to be saying something like, "Did you see that guy's arm? Yeah, it's fucking weird. And where's his nose? Does that guy even have skin? God, he's weird looking. What's wrong with him? What's going on? Look at that fucking guy. Fucking look at him. Get your phone out. Film him." And this wave, a tsunami wave of people fucking encroaching upon him, all with their phones out. Look, he's got a little him on the screen. He's filming him. And they're all filming him, they're all pointing at him and saying shit. Look at him, he's fucking weird. Fuck, what is he? What the fuck is he? Get out! Fuck. And they're not saying get him, but they're being like, look at him, look, he's weird, isn't he? He's weird. So he's hunched up and he's pulling himself in and trying to hide his arm. So he's trying to keep the poncho over his arm, and he's running off from this fucking swarm, this mob of people trying to get him on their phones. And now it's like one big mass of these people chasing after him. But they're all happy. So again, they're not like trying to fucking kill him or something. But they are trying to get him in some kind of way. And he's running off. There's an alleyway here. He ducks in the alleyway and they all run off this way. And this guy's like, he went this way, let's get him. And, you know, he's got that sort of like kind of somewhat otherworldly psychic influence power or some shit that I made up. So with the help of that and ducking into this alleyway, he managed to evade them. I really like this alleyway. The scale and the angle and the perspective and shit. I'm really happy with that. So yeah, he's hand against the wall. He's just having a breather, just like, whew, okay, that's done. And then he's up and he's looking up, and then there'll be a speech bubble here asking, is that it? Are we done? And that's him talking to his boss. And then the next couple of pages are going to be mostly in a completely black space, but with Death Fist visible, talking to his boss in the void. And then there'll be a couple of pages talking about people being demons, and that'll be it. So the next couple of pages from this one, really easy to draw. I reckon I can get 2 done in a morning because it's mostly black space, and then maybe over the next afternoon and next day I can get the other 2 pages done, and that'll be the end. And then, like I say, jump back to the you get it. Don't they know it's the end of the world? It ended when I pissed and fart. They should have me on excuse me, a Fallout radio show. You know, they have the radios in Fallout. They have like the one in Fallout 4. He's all nervous and shit, and then they got the shit one in Fallout 3. 3 dog. Ow! I fucking hate that guy. I always kill him every time. They should get me in, shouldn't they? Welcome to ewanagain Radio. Only in the wastelands today. Oh, a bunch of piss and shit. Oh, have you heard the latest news from the wasteland? Oh, those raiders are shit, aren't they? Getting in all about it everywhere. Stealing all the... and then they take all the chems and get a bunch of shit. Oh, have you seen these super mutants they got now? Oh, the green ones, you know, the super mutants. Don't seem that super to me. More like stupid mutants. They're all dumb and green. Shit. Stay safe out there, folks. Don't get, don't get radiation. That'll fuck you up. You get radiation poisoning or something. Careful out there. Everyone, don't die. Can you imagine? Imagine that. Imagine dying. In the wasteland. Wouldn't that be shit? That'd be a big pile of shit. Anyway, here's Sandman by those girls that sing that Sandman song. Clip, 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 clip. Bum, 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 bum. It'd be brilliant, I would. Be the best. And then everyone would be like, oh shit, I need to download the radio station. Because all of the guys' links between the songs are just so fucking good. He's so human. It's just so relatable, and I really appreciate that about him and what he does for the community of Wasteland something. that wasn't initially where I was going. But so, did you know there's a Fallout television show they made? They made a show. Imagine that. Imagine making a television show about Fallout. And it's good. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting to. Well, not that I wasn't expecting to. I wanted to enjoy it, but I had my I kept my expectations low because I've been hurt before. I didn't know if I could take that anymore. But that's fair, isn't it? You know. Yeah, literally, my expectations were low because it's a video game adaptation, isn't it? And those are always, well, not always, but there have been so many terrible video game adaptations in terms of, movies, TV shows. The Resident Evil one was just fucking god awful. I don't even know what they thought they were doing with that one. Not that I watched it, I just heard about it online, and so I based my opinion solely on that. But even in like the first episode, I was a little bit like, I don't know. It's a little bit. It's a little bit. I don't know. It's a bit. Fucking shut up, Ian. But then by the second episode, I was pretty much hooked. I ended up watching it all in one go. Of course, I took a little break here and there, some toilet breaks, some food breaks, some masturbation breaks. You know, you got to get your breaks in. That's the breaks. That's the breaks. I've got notes. I'm going to refer to these. So these from here on out, this is just I'm going to be talking about the Fallout TV show. Ultimately, thumbs up. Two fucking thumbs up. I enjoyed it. I watched it basically all in one go because I was intrigued and I was enjoying the flow of it all and wanted to find out what happens next. What happens to this guy? What happens to the girl? Does she find her dad? And what's going on? What's all going on? What's happening now? Oh wow! What are the bits and the stuff? Yeah, amazing. Shut up. Which is to say, I liked the show. I should just stick to my notes, shouldn't I? Right. So yeah, first thing on my notes is references. Now, it's sort of goes without saying, but it references the video games very, very heavily. But of course it does. At first, I did get a little bit like, it almost felt like they were doing too much from the video games, where it's just like, we get it, you're in Fallout, we know, fucking shut up. But that's when I had to catch myself and be like, try to watch it as someone who has never played the games, because that's where a lot of people got annoyed with Fallout 3, because it made the game seem quite a lot more sort of, well, it was clearly meant to reach a wider audience, so it maybe didn't go as in depth in terms of the lore and the backstories of certain things as the first two games did. But they made Fallout 3 for potentially an audience that had never played a Fallout game before, so they couldn't put in deep lore that you need to have played the previous games to understand. They had to sort of start from scratch and make it simpler and easier to catch on to and whatever. So I tried to watch the show in that kind of state of mind, knowing that it's not made specifically for the people who have played all the games. It's almost certainly made, it's made in part by the people who make the games. So it's going to have elements of, it's going to be made with those in mind to a degree, but not solely, because it has to reach a wide audience. It has to make money ultimately, kind of. So there's a lot of almost heavy-handed references visually, or people saying things that are oh, just like in the video game, there's this in the video, there's that in the video game. But that makes sense. But that's like my least complaint of the show, because my follow on from that. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Lots and lots of references of and to the video games, of course. However, they also add in enough new stuff that it keeps it interesting, and it kept me engaged. I wasn't like, I don't know. They add a lot of their own new elements in terms of lore, in terms of storytelling, in terms of backstory. They do add a lot. So I found it. They had references to the games where they needed them, and then they put in their own stuff where they needed to. It was a good balance. That took me a while to get there, didn't it? It's a good balance of references from the video games and completely newly created stuff just for the show, and I very much appreciate that. Jesus, that fucking took my time getting there, didn't I? Just to that fucking basic point to make. And that's my review of Fallout. The end. Not really, but I mean it could be, but it's not. I just want to draw. I think I will rewatch Fallout at some point, like in the not too distant future, because it is very, very good. Check my notes. Good recreation of the game elements and world. Yeah, the like the visual references to the video game, the vault suits, the Pip Boys, some of the weapons, the vaults themselves. They look like they're straight taken out of Fallout 4. And it makes it, obviously, Fallout 4 is like when Bethesda really sort of took ownership of it and basically redesigned the entire game visually for the most part, while still keeping the main elements, but coming up with their own sort of visual language for those elements almost. So yeah, the vaults look like the Fallout 4 vaults. The bobbleheads are in there. Like I say, the guns, the monsters. There's mole rats in there, rad roaches, the ghouls. I think they've done what they can with like available technology and stuff, and without making them look sort of silly. Because ghouls are ultimately just humans who've been irradiated, and that definitely does come across in the show, so that's good too. But yeah, ultimately, the world they've created is visually. What's the word I'm looking for? Familiar. That's it. Visually familiar if you know the games. They've done a really good job of creating the world of Fallout, and even in terms of like the wasteland and stuff, it looks really good. Not just in what they've recreated from the games, but in just the world they have made for the show. It looks good, and that's one thing I will say about the show as a whole in terms of like my enjoyment of it and stuff. Is it just looks really, really good. They have paid a lot of attention to details, to the sets, costumes, makeup, everything. It's really, really cool looking. There's like a junk town kind of thing called Philly. It's not like Philadelphia, but it's that sort of thing. And like shacks made out of scrap metal and wood and street signs and whatever else. And that whole thing looks really, really good. There's a good few scenes in that place. Yeah, they did a really good job making the world, their world of Fallout. The fucking characters. That's a note I've got. Yeah, like I say, the makeup and outfits are all really good. The characters themselves are good. The main character, the girl, is her name Lucy, I think, in the show. She's very, very likable, and she does have her good like growth moments in the show, where she's this naive vault dweller, and she has to. It doesn't have to, but chooses to go out into the world to do what she's got to do to find her dad. There may be spoilers, so heads up if you haven't seen it. I might spoil everything for you. Her character was really good and really well played. There's three main characters. There's her, and there's a member of the Brotherhood of Steel, Maximus. He's a good character. He's got depth to him. He's got flaws as a human being, and he has a couple of growth moments as well. Played really, really well. I don't know any of the actors' names apart from the guy who plays the ghoul, which is another really, really cool character. Obviously going to be like a fan favourite character because he's just like, he's the cool one, walks around dressed like a cowboy, which makes sense because of who he was before the bombs fell. He's like smart aleck, badass, good with guns and whatever else. Played by Walton Goggins, I believe that's his name. One of the best names I've ever heard, and a really good choice to play a ghoul as well, because he's a handsome guy, but like an oddly handsome guy. Like he's not a typical like Henry Cavill or anything. He does have like almost an odd kind of look to him, like visually in his face. And I feel like he sort of really kind of almost fits the part of the ghoul. And obviously he's wearing like a prosthetic mask type thing for his ghoul face. And then I assume they gave him like a green fake nose so that they could key it out in post-production, in the editing, so they could use computer graphics to basically take his nose off, because ghouls have like almost skull faces. They have they might have eyes, they might have eyelids, and they've got like very pronounced like cheekbones and sort of patches where skin's coming away and stuff. Kind of dry lips that have come away, rotten teeth, and then they've got like, more often than not, a hole where their nose used to be. That's a ghoul. And that gets onto one of the very few issues I have, which is it happens in everything, in every film, every show, whatever. Whenever they use CGI, there are times when the CGI is very, very visibly CGI. Just every now and again when I'm looking at his nose, it just looks like maybe the colours are too saturated, too dark or too rich, or when it's from the side and you can kind of see, almost like when you see heat waves on a horizon, just like those sort of wavy lines where it's just the area around his nose is distorted slightly, and it just looks like, it doesn't pull you out of it, but it is like, oh, you can see the CGI. But for the most part, I totally buy into it that he just doesn't have a nose. It's really, really well done on the whole. It's just every now and again, it's a little bit like, ooh, I saw it there. I saw the strings holding it up there. So a minor criticism in that respect. But again, any criticism is just me going, oh, but I could see the CGI a little bit. I'm not really criticising it. I'm just saying it's just a thing I noticed about the fucking whatever. There's really fun action scenes. They didn't use VATS, which I think I'm glad about. There's no reason they won't use it in the future. It's almost certainly gonna get a second season, and they do. They end this season on a very open sort of area where it would make perfect sense to have a second season. Yeah, they didn't use VATS, which, like I say, is probably a good thing, where everything time slows down and then someone's aiming and it goes, and they use, because they could have almost tried to use like bullet time, which would have maybe been a bit tacky. Um, and I don't feel like they did this instead of that, but what they did do for like certain action scenes was have like slow-mo action of people fighting, people picking other people up and slamming them through tables and chucking them around, guns going off, people having holes blown in their chests, which is really good. They didn't sort of skimp on the violence. It's not over the top, but it certainly is in there. And yeah, so it's slow-mo people fighting, like it'll be panning across the screen or the set with, you know, different people fighting here, people fighting there, guns going off, explosions, people flying around. Really, really cool scenes. And at the same time, they'll be playing songs like I don't want to set the world on fire. Those sorts of songs. No more come to mind. Crawl out through the fallout, baby, when they drop that bomb. Boom, 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 boom. Like, they use almost all of those kinds of, like, oldie-timey songs that are in the Fallout games. But they use them really effectively. Every time they use those sorts of songs, it feels like they fit. It doesn't feel like they're really forced into there. Because they use them almost comedically. Where there's, like, some big, gnarly action scene, people being blown apart and chopped up and smashed through walls and stuff, and it's going, crawl out through the fallout, baby, when they drop that bomb, boom, 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 crawl out through the, etc. So that's good too. It's good to hear those songs because that's like a staple of the Fallout thing. Is the music of it. So it's good that they included that, and they included it in a way that sort of works. Because it doesn't feel like it would make sense to have like a radio station playing that plays songs every now and again, but they have them in like these action sequences, and it fits really well. So that's good, and I appreciated that. My next note is different types of vaults and peoples, which is a really good thing. They visit a couple of different vaults. There's a couple of different vault systems, and one of the main things in Fallout is that like there's all these different vaults, and each one is like a different sort of social experiment type thing, or just human experimentation and whatever. And that's shown really well and really effectively when they go into a different vault. And at first they're like, you know, the girl's really naive. This might get into spoilers, but whatever. So the girl's really naive, and they manage to get inside a vault, and they're like, oh, we're in a vault with all these vault people. We're safe now. Everything's going to be great because vaults are the best. I grew up in a vault, and vaults equal safety. And then shortly after, they realise that's not necessarily the case, or that is absolutely not the case. Yeah, there's human experimentation, there's cults, there's human experimentation, there's all kinds of shit where it's just like the situation in this vault is fucked and they are not as safe as they thought. But then towards the end, they kind of, again, spoilers, they were maybe wrong about what they thought the danger in the vault was. You know, because I only say that to be like, if you've watched the show, you might be thinking, but they were actually safe. They just thought they were. And I know that. I'm just, just saying for the sake of argument. So it's good that they included that. And that's like a Fallout staple. So if they didn't include like different vaults with different kinds of people, then they would have missed like a huge chunk of Fallout, really. So it's good that they put that in there too. Added lore and canon. Yeah, they things like with ghouls. I think in the games, it's sort of like some ghouls, because a ghoul, they turn into ghouls because of radiation. Some of those ghouls end up becoming feral ghouls, which are dangerous, ravenous ghouls. But then some of them just live their lives for hundreds of years as ghouls, and they're perfectly fine. So not all ghouls turn feral. But it seems in the show, all ghouls will turn feral eventually. And so the main one, Walton Goggins, his character is almost constantly taking this serum, this drug thing. And at one point he runs, well, he doesn't run out, but his stash of the drug gets destroyed by the girl, of course. That was a joke. And then he gets angry and he has to find more. Otherwise, if he doesn't keep taking this serum, he's going to turn feral, which he doesn't want to do. And then there are a few scenes where you see what happens when, you know, regular ghouls turn into feral ghouls or are on their way to turning into feral ghouls. So that's like some added or like newly created lore for the show, which is really, really cool to see. And then they've added a bunch of stuff to the Brotherhood of Steel, which is really cool. They fleshed out the Brotherhood of Steel a bit more. The whole thing with like knights and squires and like the people in the suits of power armor. It's like a rare honor to have a suit of power armor, and then those knights in the armor, as they are called, they get given a squire who basically follows them around with a bag of kit and have to do everything the knight says, and then that comes into play a couple of times throughout the show. So there's these extra added bits of lore, which just goes to show they really took care to like write the show. It's not just let's make a Fallout show based on everything that's in the game. They really have sort of like added to it and created it and stuff. The suits of power armor was another minor nitpick I had, where there was quite a few times where in how the suits move and where other people are moving parts of the suits, they really feel like lightweight and almost plastic, which obviously they are because that's how they're made in terms of the special effects teams and stuff. Personally, I feel like they could have or maybe should have made like one or two actual metal suits out of like, you know, as lightweight as they could or whatever, but just for like the close-ups and stuff, and then have a few other suits made of plastic when you've got more people in them in the background or whatever. But that's like, again, a minor nitpick from me going, oh, why didn't they do? They did exactly like what they could and what they needed to, and it's all good. Ultimately, it's just another thing I noticed. The Vault-Tec conspiracy is another thing of like, you know, Vault-Tec set up the vaults as human experimentation units and stuff, and that really plays a big part in the show, which that gets sort of added to episode by episode. You like learn a little bit more about how awful Vault-Tec are, and it really comes to a head right towards the end, and you find out who's involved and what they're responsible for, and it all gets a bit deep. So it's good that they included that, because again, that's a big part of the video game, and it fits into the show, it fits into the world of the show. It doesn't feel forced, it doesn't feel like they're really trying to fit in game elements. It really feels like they're taking things that matter and putting them where they need them. And then right at the end, spoilers, I did think throughout the show, I was like, oh, I hope I see a Deathclaw, because, you know, of course you want to see a Deathclaw, it's Fallout. The main big monster they did have was a Gulper, which are in Fallout 4 and 76, but they made them different. And they gave these Gulpers at least a different kind of lore, where they are a result of like human experimentation. And so the Gulpers have human parts, but their mouth looks like it's filled with loads and loads of teeth, but they close up and you see they're actually like human fingers lining the inside of their mouth, like to pull food into their mouths, which is really horrible and really creepy, but really fucking cool and really effective. And they are literally like birthed from humans who have been experimented on with like radiation and stuff, so it makes sense that they have human DNA and human elements to them. Really cool. Like, they completely made that up for the show and added it in, and it's really good that they did that. So they did that, but there's no Deathclaws. But right at the very end, big bad guy escapes, and he's in the desert, and there's a close-up of a Deathclaw skull on the ground, and it's like, oh my god, okay, right, season 2, let's get a Deathclaw in there. And then after that, you see, spoilers, the guy looks up over like the horizon or whatever, and you see in the distance New Vegas. Oh my god, from Fallout New Vegas, like the Lucky 38, is it? The big casino tower thing or whatever. So they've obviously, that just shows, and then that's like right at the end, and they cut to credits or whatever. So they're fully planning on a season 2, possibly set in the Mojave, New Vegas, Death Claws, bunch of shit. Yeah, I'm thoroughly looking forward to season 2, because as I've just done for the last fucking half hour, gone on and on and on about how bloody good season 1 has been. Because it's a really good show. I really enjoyed it. There's loads, and for everything I've fucking gone on about, there's another 100 things that are like little Easter eggs here and there, little extra bits they added, little nods to other things, little storylines that might take place here and or there. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a really it's a good show. I fully recommend it. It didn't, for all of my praising of it, it didn't fucking blow my tits off. I wasn't like, this is the best show. Oh my god, I can't believe there's finally a Fallout TV show. It's amazing. It's the best thing ever. But it's definitely a fun watch, and that's ultimately, like, I think my main takeaway is it's fun. It's a fun show, and it's well made. So there's like no reason not to watch it. I found it for free on a piracy website, so because I don't fuck with Amazon. It's an Amazon show, so it's available on Amazon if you have that, but it's also available out there for free. So watch Fallout, and then then you'd have watched Fallout, and that's something. Oh, look at that! Oh, super mutant. I guess now I've got to get my shit together and paint this 9 feet tall.